Welcome to our Lily group coaching orientation, where we are going to be discussing and expanding on what we do with our coaching groups. And we've got a nice presentation for you, and then later we're going to open it up for more interaction.
You know, one of the basic premises of this project is we're dealing with primarily singles and former singles. And one of the biggest issues that a lot of us faced when we were single was isolation. And a group like this can help us connect with other people who have been where we are, who are where we are, maybe in some cases, and where we can kind of be ourselves and understand that we're acceptable and that we can be accepted for who we are, as as imperfect as we all are.
And we found that it works really great to have a variety of people from different walks of life, from different life experience.
Hi.
Hey, so just make sure you're on mute for this portion, and then we'll open it up for more interaction. So people who might be struggling in their relationship, people who are remarried, people who are just barely getting divorced and they're going into the single world, so just lots of different varieties of situations, and it's really good to work with a variety of people in our groups. So we're gonna start a screen share. And then do I do like a full screen?
No. Hang on.
Sorry, just let us get this up here in a way.
Está bien para que se distraiga. ¿Me traes mi bolsa, gordo, también?
Oh, I'm hearing another language. It's fun.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. Welcome. We're actually just figuring out how to screen share this properly.
Okay, wait. Where is the, oh, here it is.
Oh, we've got it now.
Well, not quite.
Almost. I promise this will be worth it. I spent like all day on it. Actually, several. I need to, and like.
The problem is you don't have two monitors.
Jeff's used to working with two monitors. So Jeff is a lawyer and I am a violinist on the side of this wonderful life coaching business that we do. And it's been super fun to have a variety of things that we do. He's working with my setup right here that is different than his. Maybe let's open it up while we're figuring this out.
It's figured out.
It's figured out?
This is it.
Okay, good. Awesome.
All right. Can everybody see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, like we said, we're the Teicherts. Actually, I don't think we've said that officially. We are Jeff and Kathy Teichert. We're single life and relationship coaches. And we're here to talk about the Knights of the Lady and the Lily Ladies. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. And we'll just dive in. Should we?
Yeah, I want to just throw in at the beginning. A lot of you know this, but we started out just writing a book. Intentional Courtship is the name of it. It's been as high as number 6 on the Amazon bestseller list for Christianity and psychology books. But anyway, we started out just writing that book. And the reason was that both of us, when we individually got divorced, were looking for material written to Latter-day Saints that were going through what we were going through. and trying to rebuild their lives. And guess what? We found zip. There was nothing. And so we started out writing a book because nobody else had. And we decided that we wanted to write the book we wished that we would have had when we first became single. And as we've explored this more and we created an organization to promote the book and get the message out.
don't know if you like something until you
Oh, make sure you're on mute, please.
And
finish it dinner.
Go ahead.
and so we wrote the book that we had wished we would have had when we became single, and then we worked with this organization to try to to do outreach and help promote the book and get the message out. And we thought these groups would be an important element of of helping this to happen.
And they've been magical. So I'm excited to share them with you.
Some people wonder why we're sex segregated in the groups. We're not tonight, and we won't always be every time. But a lot of the time we do, we have a men's group and we have a women's group. And the primary reason is if you're in a group with somebody that perhaps you're interested in dating or might be interested in dating,
Or with your spouse, if you're married.
it tends to, at least at first, impair your ability to be as honest as you need to be for these groups to really be helpful, to be as vulnerable as you need to be. When there's less writing on it, when it's a room full of women or a room full of men without the opposite sex there, they're not putting on a show for each other. And not that you would really intentionally do that, but we just know that tends to happen in groups where, you know, it's a group of singles.
Yeah. But we have kind of an exciting thing coming up where we might sometimes combine if it's good for the group. It's kind of going to be based on the group's needs for each term.
Right. It won't be every time, but
Maybe sometimes.
occasionally, I think there can be benefit.
There
by
have been some requests for that.
adding
so,
the groups together. So,
yeah. All right. Should we go to the next slide?
yep.
All right. All right. So as we said, we're single life and relationship coaches, and our primary goal is to help single adults intentionally heal from loss, to move forward and create happy lives and healthy relationships. And this is the cover for our Facebook group if you're not currently a member. It's called Love in Later Years group.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about having worked on this project is we go to a lot of weddings. We get invited to a lot of weddings. A couple of members of the Knights got married just recently, like this summer.
Yeah, and
And
a
so-
few of my coaching clients have gotten married in, you know, recent past as well. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah.
The Knights are our exclusive men's coaching group.
And Jeff is the coach for that.
Yeah, I consider myself in that setting more of a facilitator. We like everybody to help each other. And while I will take the lead in that, I like to have all the members of the group have their say. They can help each other a lot in terms of support.
And
as
they
well
do.
as-
It's so cool.
yeah, they'll give
Yeah.
each other good counsel as well. And even some have been helpful to other members of their group between sessions. They'll message each other or whatever.
Yeah. And we can go to the next one. So the Lily Ladies is our exclusive women's coaching group, and I am the coach for that one. And definitely a facilitator, like Jeff said. I also do quite a bit of coaching in my groups, as well as a little bit of like a monthly focus workshop. We do them a little bit different, but both of us are kind of guided by the Spirit on how we do it. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But the ladies are pretty good about talking throughout the month in our Facebook group chat. If I ever need to do it different, I will, but whoever's in the group, if they're in whatever way, we like to be in touch during the month, and they can reach out anytime, and have access to me as the coach, and also their friends in the group, which is really like an awesome support system.
Yeah, it can be really helpful.
And then the Knights are like able to do that too. They just don't tend to be as I think they're just busy. I mean, we're all
Right.
busy, but
But I mean, we actually had a session not all that long ago, maybe 6 months or something, where I threw it out there. There was one person saying, "Yeah, I don't really have anybody. There's nobody I could really call at 3 a.m."
oh, I remember
And
that.
I asked the other nights who would take his call at 3 a.m. and numbers started appearing in the chat,
Yeah.
And so I think, and I think the people who put their numbers there meant that. I
Yeah.
really do. So this can be really helpful that way. I think a big part of this, and I've kind of said it, but I can't reiterate it or clarify it enough. A big part of this group effort is you need to have practice being open and vulnerable and even telling the ugly truth about yourself and understanding because of experience that people will accept you even being imperfect, even if you're a guy but you don't feel like Superman, even if you're a woman and you don't feel like you're up to par, like you're enough, that you need a place to go where you can talk, express, oh, this is how I'm feeling this week, and have a supportive group of people around you who you can see very sincerely accept you even though you're not perfect.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel like they've really liked to be open because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Do you know how to go back? Previous.
Sorry about that.
All right. So what has been growing in your head and in your life? I took that picture in New York. I was walking down the street and we were just getting certified as life coaches, and it just really spoke to me. And so I took this picture of this just random head with a live plant in it. Because we really do truly have things that are growing in our head, right? Like the habitual thoughts that we have become perceptions, and those perceptions become our reality, and that reality and the emotions that they create then create our life. I mean, if you examine your life and your relationships and consider it a mirror and reflection of your mind, you'll start to recognize that everything you've been thinking in the past is created where you're at today.
Yeah, you've heard about the Cherokee proverb about the two wolves, which one's going to win the battle? It's going to be the one you feed. It's the same kind of thing here.
We think that our thoughts are just truth, and they're so subjective, almost all of them.
Which of our thoughts are going to grow into something else? The ones we feed, the ones we water.
And sometimes we've been feeding them for
nurture.
years and they're not serving us. Now, when we have that new awareness, we need to be compassionate with ourselves. That's very important, because weak things become strong as we acknowledge them. And we're not alone in overcoming them. And there is some spiritual foundation in our practice, although it's also very academic and practical. But we believe that there's a savior and an atonement and a God that we can go to for help and be able to express these new awarenesses that we find a lot through formal coaching, either private or in groups like this.
I really love the idea that not only our thoughts, but our words are powerful. They have a powerful impact on where we're headed in our lives. And there's that scripture by the prophet Joel where he says, let the weak say, I am strong. Why does he want the weak to say, I am strong? Is he want them to lie? No, because by saying it, they become that is the first step toward becoming strong, is saying, I'm going to be strong. I am strong.
Yeah. And being truthful with ourselves about,
right.
Yeah. What our humanness. And that's the thing. Other thing is accepting that we're human and imperfect and we're still lovable.
And if we take even a simple thing like dating, maybe dating is not that simple, but if a person says, kind of hedges, you've heard people do that. I'm not against getting married if the right person comes along when their deepest desire is to get married. We've all heard that, people will kind of hedge and say, well, I can do with it or without it, but deep down they don't really mean it. And when the weak says, I am strong, and they commit to that, and they say, no, this is what I want, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
So you're talking about the
And
strength of
the strength of saying very boldly what you want and what
Yes.
you feel deep in your heart.
And that's a big part of this group too, is being able to do more of that.
Right. All right. The nights, before I get into the themes right there on the board, there's a scripture that I want to read. And this is a favorite one of mine on the subject that we're talking about with related to the nights. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. That's Ephesians 6:10. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. This is really interesting. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God. I don't think there's ever been a time in our history where we needed more for strong men to step up. My vision here with the men that can hear me is not to just enable you to barely come back to where you were before your life fell apart, when you got divorced or your wife passed away or whatever the situation is. It isn't just to have you win some consolation prize. It's to have you become the powerful person, the powerful leader that is going to be a light in the darkness of this world, that is going to stand up against the powers of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places, who is going to be a strong and powerful voice for the truth. And how many women want to be married to a guy like that? They don't want to be married to a guy that is, oh, please, can I have some more? Our exclusive coaching group for men are invested in becoming effective leaders at home, at work, and in the world, and in succeeding in their relationships with women. And if you trust the process, I think we can take you there.
Yeah, definitely. And the ladies is our exclusive coaching group for women who are invested in nurturing their souls and intentionally growing to their full potential. And of course, there's so much more to it, and we actually are going to share more. But I find that what the women want and what they need is more self-care, more self-support, because let's face it, we're often running ragged, like being moms, and some of us single moms at that. Also, we know we've got the single men here too. And either way, this investment of the group in the group is like your me time, and not just me time, but like I'm becoming stronger and better for it time. So it's really good self-reflection and self-care.
Right. And we want our women to be strong too. They don't have to walk around with self-doubt, feeling, like the world, like the world is overwhelming them.
Right. Confident and able to articulate what they want boldly as well.
And to be women, to be feminine and be strong. And that's not a contradiction.
Exactly. That's one thing we have gone over specifically. Now, this vulnerability is super important in terms of growth.
Yeah, this defies some ideas about masculinity that, and frankly, ideas that we want to fight against in this world, that being vulnerable or having feelings means that you're weak. means that you can't handle yourself, that you can't handle life. And I like what Brene Brown says here. Vulnerability is not weakness. And that myth is profoundly dangerous. Vulnerability is the birthplace of connection. And that's one of the things we're going to teach both men and women, but the way that you're going to succeed in your relationships with women, men, the way you're going to create connection is going to be through vulnerability, being willing to bravely share the things inside you that you're a little scared of, and to be able to do that boldly and with confidence that you're acceptable, that you're a good man, that you are God's servant, and that you have a lot to offer.
And this vulnerability is something we get to practice in these groups, and practice in a place that feels safe with other people of our same gender, that we're not trying to impress or trying to court.
Right.
It's, you know, it's a place where we can be real and be like, hey, this is what I've got going on.
And so Brene says vulnerability is the birthplace of connection. And so we talked about that. It also is the path to the feeling of worthiness, feeling like you're a worthwhile person, like you deserve happiness and opportunities to lead and be a light to others. Vulnerability is the birthplace or the pathway to feeling that way too. And that's part of feeling strong, not in an arrogant, cocky, phony kind of way, inner strength. Because if you can admit to the people in your group, yeah, my wife had an affair and it really sucked and it hurt me really bad. Okay, you do that. Is that weakness or is that strength?
It's transforming.
It's transforming because you can admit that without thinking it reflects on your manhood or something. You know, I think we can show that kind of strength and bravery is part of winning the battle for light over darkness in this world. And if it doesn't feel vulnerable, Brene says, the sharing is probably not constructive. And I think sometimes we do that. We talk to dating partners about what's the common thing. You go on a first date and you bag on your ex, and you talk about how this person did you wrong and they broke all their covenants and they did this and they did that. And really, is that vulnerable? It could be a little vulnerable in places, but saying, you know what? I know what I did in my marriage. Regardless of what she did, I know what I did. I know what my contribution to the mess we made together was. And I'm determined not to make that again. But I like all of your help to help me not make that mistake again. And
that's where the support comes in. And I want to give a little bit of an important distinction. When we say that Lily Group Coaching provides a safe and growth-oriented space to be vulnerable, connected, and constructive, the word safe is a little bit difficult to define. And some people might not feel safe at first being vulnerable in such a group.
Especially when you don't know the other people very well in the
Right.
beginning, in some cases.
Which is why 4 months ago, we decided to start making them by the term, these groups by the term, and the open enrollment would only happen 3 times a year for 4 months at a time, because we wanted people to be able to get really settled into that comfort, that safety. And just remember that it also sometimes doesn't feel very emotionally safe to recognize our weaknesses. And yet it's actually strength. Just like vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. But it feels vulnerable and therefore feels weak, and it can feel unsafe sometimes.
Right.
But what we're hoping is that over time you'll get more comfortable with that. But as you're expanding your comfort zone, might feel a little bit troubling.
Some of you have heard me say that on my first date with Kathy, I told her a whole litany of things, but that I had just been laid off from my corporate job in Texas and moved back to Utah, that I'd started a business, but I couldn't support myself with it yet, that I had failed the Texas bar exam by one point, that I had just gotten divorced for the second time. I don't know if I mentioned that. And that I was couch surfing with my parents at age 48. So I made a great impression.
Yep.
And the point is,
And actually, believe it or not, I found it refreshing. I mean, it was a little overwhelming, to be honest. I mean, to have that much thrown at me on a first date, but I appreciated the sincerity, and I felt more like we could trust and open up more. And I think we became close a lot faster because of it.
yeah, I didn't want her to think at any point that she'd been fed a line of BS to try to impress her. And so when I joke that I made a great impression, my goal wasn't to make an impression. It was to show her who I was.
Yes, showing up
And-
and being real is going to be a big part of your process of whether it's self-coaching, private coaching, or group coaching. The coaching part of your brain that gets intentional about figuring yourself out and what's growing up here and what are you creating as a result of that. It's going to be all part of that process.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to find a dating coach that will give you the moves, I mean, good luck. I don't think that ever really works very well. But even if that's what you want, that's not us. But what we're trying to tell you is it's just as important to figure out who is not your person than, that's equally important to finding the person who is your person. And how do we do that? By being authentic and vulnerable, by showing people who we are. And if you show someone truly who you are and they accept you, well, then you've really got something. You know that they like you because of who you are and not because of the mask you're wearing or the show you're putting on. So that's a big part of what we're going to encourage. If you're not comfortable being vulnerable, join the human race. We all feel that way. But
It means you're a normal human.
you can become more comfortable with it and learn to enjoy a depth of human relationships that you might not have ever really experienced before, particularly if you married when you were kind of young and dumb like we did and have to
Well, and I know we have a couple married couples attending tonight, and sometimes when we grow together, or we grow like in sync, or grow, I should say, in tandem.
right.
As we grow in tandem, sometimes we end up divorcing the old energy in the relationship that wasn't working for us and create a whole new relationship. So sometimes you can do the divorce remarriage within a marriage.
Right.
Anyway, just thought I'd point that out. All right, so this is kind of a lot of information and we'll go over it quickly. I want you guys to grab a pen and paper and just write down whatever resonates with you. Because if you were going to join our groups, we want to know, what do you want to work on? And this is the history of the last 16 months that we've been doing these groups. And as you can see, mine are a little bit more formal and a little bit more organized, just a little bit more random, but we both really like to be guided with our instincts and our intuition for these topics. And we usually get some kind of inspiration one way or another, even if it's something like, you know what, this month we're just gonna talk, like we're just gonna be there for each other and not worry about trying to grow, in a particular way. But most of the time I have a focus of the month. And in May of 2022, when we first started, we focused on all our personal development favorites. So we all shared with each other what our favorite personal development things are. And in the login for the Lily Ladies, I actually have like the list from that first group, which there was like 20 ladies and they all shared, and it's a wonderful resource. In June, we did a change of mind and a heart at peace. Again, these titles might not mean a lot without more information, but it gives you an idea. In the next month, we talked about giving from the overflow and living in abundance, and that was really cool. That's something I keep working on myself. mindful and compassionate self-evaluation is, that idea that if we're looking at our minds and we're figuring out what's going on in there that isn't supporting and serving me well, and what do I want to change about that, being compassionate with ourselves as we do that. Reducing the shoulds and buts of life. That was a really fun one. And you are welcome to reach out and ask more about that if you're interested in knowing what that means. Practicing self-appreciation, minimum standards and baseline, which we did in prep for the new year. And we did it early so that we wouldn't go into the holidays, not remembering that we had some basic standards we might want to maintain in terms of our health and well-being and stuff like that. And then the gift of new and empowering thoughts we did in December. And then moving into the new year, we did healthy processing of emotion, reframing triggers and turning our curses into blessings. Then we did hypnotherapy tools to give our words of the year. Have you ever had a word of the year? To give them more power in our lives. And then discerning between the spirit and personal thoughts. I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, right? So we talked about that at length. And in May, we did spring cleaning. And that has gone all summer and has been a kind of a kick in the butt for me and for all my ladies. I think everyone did really, really well showing up and, really cleaning out their space. And apparently it always improves health, physical health. And I've actually found myself to have more energy as I've been spring cleaning my own stuff. Embracing and expressing the whole truth, allowing triggers to become healing moments, and most recently financial freedom, which I'm kind of surprised we didn't do sooner. And I am more than welcome to revisit any of these that are really needed in the future group.
I think in some ways, the long detailed list for the women and the short sort of bullet point list for the men reflects one of the differences between men and women. But, that's not going to be true 100% of the time. But we didn't always have a specific theme. And I do like to allow both the spirit and the needs of the group to dictate kind of where the conversation goes. I try not to control it or direct it too much. I don't tell people to get back on topic. If there's something they want to talk about, then we're here for you to talk about what you want to talk about as well, and to maybe provoke some insights and things like that. I did list a few of the things that we talked about, and occasionally in advance, if I felt so moved, I would ask people to listen to a talk or something. Like on Kings and Priests, there was a talk by President Kimball that he gave, I believe at BYU, called Kings and Priests, and he compared two boys that grew up in Arizona and were anointed kings and priests in the temple to King Edward, who abdicated the throne in England, and compared them and gave a bunch of insights into what does it mean to be a king and a priest. And I think that's a profound idea for the men. But like I said, we didn't necessarily adopt a theme every time, and when we did, we didn't strictly stick to it. So
just for clarification for the ladies is that I would do a little bit of a workshop on these, and we'd kind of talk about it throughout the month as we wanted to, but then we'd coach on whatever came up. So the other ones that you've done are pretty cool. Trauma recovery after divorce.
Right. And a lot of these can meld together too, like financial and career recovery. You need to have a certain amount of confidence. And where does that come from? Well, strength and adversity relates to that. Trauma recovery relates to that. So all of these can be related in some ways, but it'll focus a lot on these subjects. But, we can also talk about dating. We can talk about
current relationships,
and we have done that.
I think it's cool that you call them roundtables.
Right.
I haven't figured out the ladies' equivalent of that, so I just call them sessions. But
But you know, you got knights and ladies. It's
Yeah, we got the knights and then we got the ladies. It's medieval.
and part of it, honestly, is and talking about the knights is, what do you think of when you think of knights? You think of strength and you think of armor and the whole armor of God, like we just talked about. So I think one of the sad kind of results, particularly for men who get divorced, is we really lose our confidence. I mean, maybe not everybody, but boy, for me and most of the men I know who've gotten divorced, it really knocks you to the ground.
I think
and
women do too.
you lose your,
Maybe in different ways, but I think we all take a dive on our self-esteem.
yeah. And I want to give people hope that it's really possible to regain your strength, to emerge stronger than you were before, more capable, more spiritual, with greater character, better relationship, all that stuff. And you can be a leader if you've been divorced. I mean, there's nothing, if you've been divorced, or if you're still single for that matter, there's nothing to say that you can't be a leader of men or women.
All right, so we've got testimonials from happy coaching group members, and this is going spastic.
Okay.
I think this is the first one, yeah.
So yeah, Brian said, after reading Intentional Courtship, which I've referred to several times as a source book for how to prepare for marriage, the second time around, talking directly to co-author Jeff Teichert has been so helpful. He authoritatively asserted that if you've got buy-in from your partner, then why couldn't you arrange for things that are important in your relationship? Kind of making agreements. It just made sense to me and affected how I dated moving forward to avoid problems in my next marriage that could arise without those intentional agreements. I have started having those conversations more directly. In attending the Knights of the Lily roundtables, I have been uplifted in a place where we as men are actually free to share anything that concerned us. Thank you, Knights and Jeff, for supporting us so thoroughly. Hold out for your dreams, confidently believe in them, and implement the strategies you learn. This group will help you accomplish them. Now, it doesn't say it here, but Brian is actually, and by the way, this is posted with Brian's permission. All of the testimonials are presented with the author's consent. But Brian is actually, I mean, he works in real estate now, but he actually is a qualified therapist. So,
And he loves our stuff.
and he loves our group, our book and our other material. So here we go.
Okay. All right. From Meg Corey, who's actually also a therapist herself, very accomplished woman. And we love Meg. She said, I've really enjoyed Lily Ladies group coaching and working with Kathy over the past year. I think she's been in it since its inception, probably all 16 months. She asks questions to understand better what one is trying to say and narrow down the issue. It is helpful because many times we might try to think through an issue, and having her ask those pointed questions helps us pull out of habitual patterned thinking. She's caring and encouraging. It has helped to have the group of ladies to be fully open and vulnerable with in a safe environment. I'm fairly self-motivated for change, but it has helped me to be in this group and have kind accountability. And from Christy Eldridge, I have been involved with coaching in the Lily Ladies group for a little over a year now, and I love it. There is closeness there, which is something I needed. I've grown in many ways that are difficult to list. I'm definitely a stronger woman now than I was at the beginning, and the support is great and one of a kind. It's been better for me than counseling ever was. I definitely recommend this avenue of help. Thanks, Kathy, for doing this group.
All
Thank
right.
you, Meg and Christy, for sharing that. That's awesome. Thank you.
David Howard found Jeff and Kathy Teichert in August of 2022, 1 year before writing this. My divorce was almost finalized, and I was trying to heal from the devastating loss of a 35-year marriage. And I remember when David came into the group, and I can attest to that. I didn't know if I ever wanted to remarry. I was deeply hurt and had already tried all I could to get back on my feet emotionally and socially. I had a great therapist that helped a lot, but found I needed additional support. That's when I joined Knights of the Lily. Oop. It was here that I found the support I was looking for and gained the confidence that there was a lot of life left to live joyfully. It also didn't matter that I was in my mid-60s. This group provided a safe place for us to be open and honest with what was going on in our lives and help us process our trauma and move forward. I found men here that were willing to love and support and understand me. Encouragement was ample and freely given. I remember saying in the group one evening last fall that this is what our quorum meetings should be like at church. And I think one of the reasons why they're not is we're so concerned with how we look when we're in those meetings. And we encourage a lot more openness in these meetings. I have now been able to move on with my life with a wonderful companion, recently married. We are so excited for the life we get to build together. Life has never been brighter and more promising, due in part to my association with Jeff and Kathy and the many fine men I meet with monthly. If you yourself are single, no matter your age, and in need of support, I wholeheartedly recommend Jeff and Kathy, their book, Intentional Courtship, and their monthly group coaching sessions. Thanks, David. And if you want to unmute your mic, we'd be happy to hear from you. Anything else? At least I thought
That actually gave me
David
the
was here.
chills. I love his story and how quickly he turned his life around. It's really awesome.
So yeah,
I'm here.
we'd love to hear anything
David.
else you would like to say.
I have just really enjoyed these monthly meetings and look forward to them. It is just refreshing to sit down with a group of men and be able to be open, and rather than keep all of these feelings inside that we're conditioned to do. And it has really helped to make me feel free, and has increased my confidence.
That's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We love having you. Well, and I say we because we're coaching partners, but I don't get to attend the nights and he doesn't get to attend the ladies unless we do a group one, and that might be fun sometime.
We'll do that from time to time.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
Thanks, David.
Those are testimonials from some of our group members that have enjoyed participating.
I know Christy's here.
Christy, did you want to talk about your experience? We'd love to hear it.
I'm putting her on the spot though. You don't have to.
It's okay. It's just a good experience for me. It's just what I needed.
You're breaking up a little bit.
My computer probably.
Usually you're clear.
Try again.
It's just been really good for me.
We love having you, and we're excited to have you join us again in the fall. So thank you for writing this and joining us tonight. All right.
I'm glad we got at least some of our comments in writing.
Yeah. Sorry, for some reason it's breaking up a little bit tonight, but we're glad you're here. Are you hearing us okay? Give us a thumbs up if you are. Are you hearing us okay? Okay. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. Next is the fall schedule. We're going to talk about the fall schedule for just a second. So we've decided to start doing them on the same night so that if we want to combine at any point, we can, and everybody's planning on the same time frame. It also is a little better for Jeff and I, to have family night open again, because he was doing Mondays for a while. I think really the whole time, right?
Well, and some of the people that we did Mondays to accommodate have not continued. So
yeah, so we're just decided at this point, we're going to combine on Thursdays. It's going to be the second Thursday of each month. And the dates are here if you want to check your calendars. If you are not able to attend all of them, I mean, we do highly encourage you to attend because there's a lot of interaction, there's a lot of benefit, but there's also benefit from listening and observing. And we're going to be recording them and providing them in our logins. So there's a login for the ladies and there's a login for the knights, and they are separate. And that's where we put our recordings and our whatever bonus material we want to provide as part of the focus of the month.
And they're not downloadable, right?
No, they're not downloadable, but it's a login. It's like you're in a membership and you have a login.
So the reason I bring that up is because even if you're nervous about having the group recorded and thinking it might get out, the only people that are going to have access to it are the other group members.
Correct.
So,
yep. And the Zoom sessions will start at 6:30 and go till 8 or 8:30. We just give a little bit of a 30-minute buffer in case we want to go a little longer. If there's more, participants, or if there's less, we'll end by 8. But I think if everybody just puts 2 hours on their calendar, and then we might get done early.
Yeah.
I know I've tended to go long, but I'm going to try really hard to rein it in, and we'll make sure that we respect your time and ours. And but we love serving you, and so please reach out during the month, like we talked about, because when life is happening, that's when you need your coach, right? It's not just like when you're at the meeting and you're not necessarily thinking of what's really concerning you when you're in the thick of it. So that's why we love these groups too, is that interaction between sessions.
right.
All right, so this is the pricing and the prices are the same, but you'll enroll differently because it'll give you access to the membership site that is separate. Basically, we were charging 500 or 50 per month, but we're just collecting it all at once in advance, basically.
Right.
So that we have our solid groups that can be vulnerable and open and safe and comfortable with each other.
Right. And at the bottom, it shows our values. We want to provide valuable support, transformative coaching at an affordable price.
And just so you know, our private coaching is $150 per hour. So basically, for the cost of just a little bit more than one session with us privately, you get this entire program, which is super cheap.
Right.
We do sometimes do packages that make those sessions a little bit more affordable, but that's the standard basic rate for private coaching is $150 per
Now,
hour.
One other thought on this too, if any of you have the means and want to provide a scholarship to somebody who can't afford it, we
that would be needed. There's a lot of the time where
that.
people really want to do this, but they can't afford it. And, if we ever have that scholarship opening opportunity, then we'll let you guys know.
Right. And we've tried to keep the price pretty low. I mean, $50 a month.
And you can just save it in advance and then pay it all at once that. And we'd encourage you to be in the groups for at least a year, but the 4 months allows you some flexibility to come and go, each person to come and go as needed.
Yeah. You got an aging parent that gets sick and you think, I can't deal with this until that situation resolves one way or the other. I mean, there's all kinds of
things. You could take off a term
in life that come up.
Yep. All right. So this is how you enroll. You can either send the $200 by Venmo at Love in Later Years, and the code, if they ask for it, is 4226. And we do encourage you to purchase your 4-month coaching package by August 31st. I think the deadline right now is like the 2nd of September, because we're starting, we're going to be starting, and we want you all in, and we want to know who we're serving and get the group messaging set up, and just want to make sure everybody gets in. You can also pay by credit card with one of those links, and they're not active links, but we can send them to you. So you can just reach out and we'll send you the appropriate link if you want to just be able to click on something.
Yeah, and we'll give you just a second right now to to either photograph that or copy it down too if you want to.
Yep. And just remember, you'll have a membership login that provides your group coaching recordings as well as focus of the month bonus content, whatever we provide for that month. And that makes it so it's easy because we'd be getting lost in text threads like the podcasts or videos that we recommended. And then people wouldn't know how to find them. So this just makes it really easy to utilize and find the resources that we share with you. And just so you know, this is how our upcoming 4 months are. It's fall, winter, and summer. So that's why we're doing this now in August in preparation for the fall term. And this will be the last time to enroll this year. So moving on from that, we just want to kind of tell you what else is going on in our community before we wrap up, or as we wrap up, I should say. Our book is Intentional Courtship, a Mid-Singles Guide to Peace, Progress, and Pairing Up. And we have created 3 marathon 12-week courses that are really in-depth. Life Design After Divorce, which is now available on demand because we did it in the winter, right? We did
Yes.
it like February through April-ish, May-ish of this year. And it expands on the peace part of that mid-singles guide, chapters 1 through 8. Now, coming up for singles is a Courting with Confidence course, and it will be live September through December. So we're going to be doing that in concurrently with the group, the ladies and the knights, but it's a separate thing. And it expands on the progress portion of our book, which is chapters 9 through 14. And then the Pairing Up with Your Person course will be next year, January through May. And we've already outlined it. We're super excited. It expands on the pairing up portion, which is more relationship oriented. And for those who are wanting to get more serious with their dating and relationship journey, and maybe even engaged couples would be good for that one.
Right.
Pairing up with your person is being very intentional about who you end up with. And those are chapters 5 through 20. And then here's the schedules for those. Again, Life Design is on demand and available at your own pace. Courting with Confidence is live this fall, and then live. Oh, I apologize. I did not get that switched over, but it's Pairing Up with Your Person will be live in 2024, early 2024. And then there will be a free webinar on Courting with Confidence in 2 weeks from tonight. So if you want to join us, we'll just reach out and we'll provide you with a link to register for that event. And we've got another cool slideshow coming for that. And it's going to be very informative. It's going to go over all of the steps that we are presenting in the course. All right, Jeff.
All right.
Oh, and I apologize. That ladies is not supposed to be there. This
Now,
is
were
for
you gonna do-
everybody.
Were you going to do this one?
Oh, actually, yeah, why don't you do it?
Okay.
No, I'll do this one. Sorry. You'll do
Yeah.
the next one.
I'll do the next one.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. That should also include the knights, of course. This is for everyone. In economics, we learned that something is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Now, I want you to think about that. When you go to sell something, you literally will only receive what someone's willing to pay for it. We are worth what our Savior Jesus Christ was willing to pay for us. And we know that's a heck of a lot.
Yep.
Life gets messy, and sometimes we forget how valuable we are to God, and we lose our divine power. And what these groups are meant to do is help us remember our divine worth and create our lives on purpose with renewed power and strength in Christ.
And this one, some of you that are familiar with the material we share have seen this before.
It's one of your favorites, isn't it?
Yeah. President John Taylor, the third president of our church, asked, do you feel as though some dreadful calamity has happened to you? Anybody ever been divorced who didn't feel that way? Do you feel as though some dreadful calamity has happened to you? Have you forgot who you are, what your object is? Have you forgot that you profess to be saints of the Most High God, clothed upon with the holy priesthood? Have you forgot that you are aiming to become kings and queens to the Lord and priests and priestesses to him? And I think sometimes when we're beaten down by life, when we feel beaten down by life, it's easy to forget this. And I find it interesting too. He talks about being clothed upon by the holy priesthood. Think about the way we're clothed in the temple. The men and the women wear the same thing. They're both clothed upon with the holy priesthood. Women are promised that they will become priestesses at some point. Queens and priestesses to God. And remember, you haven't lost that promise because you got divorced or because your spouse died or because you've lived a long time without having been able to make the marriage covenant. And whatever you've gone through in life, it's important to remember when we talk about the Lord's anointed, the elect, we're not just talking about the prophets and apostles. You're anointed too. And so when we talk about the Lord's anointed, we're talking about each of us that have taken that covenant upon ourselves to become kings and queens, priests and priestesses. Now, I want to focus just one more second on the men listening. There's a poem I like by Josiah Gilbert Holland.
Do you want to end with that? Because I have 2 more slides.
Yeah, well, are you going to talk specifically to the women too?
Yeah, at the end.
Okay, so I'll hold that until that portion.
All right, so just real quick, in case you're not, we would love to have you subscribe to all 3 of the things that we offer regularly. They're very uplifting, and the letter itself always has a link to the current podcast and our video that we do. But it would be good for you to be subscribed to all of them if you're not. Maybe you all are, but if you're not, find LilyPod on your favorite podcast app, and then just go to the YouTube app and search for LilyTube, and you'll find that image right there. And then the Lily letter you'll find on our website, and that's our last slide, which is, we have a brand new website. I built it all summer. I've been working really hard. And do you enjoy our new colors? They go along with our book. And throughout the website, we've got that teal and black and white, and lots of really good information and testimonials and products and services, and as well as the things that you can subscribe to, and convenient links to all of it. Please explore it. Let me know if you find any glitches. We just launched this week, and I haven't officially announced it. This is like the first time I've been saying to a group of Lily members that we have done this, because I've been wanting to test all the links myself and haven't quite had a chance. I think it went live like Monday morning or late Tuesday, Sunday night or something like that. Anyway, I had someone helping me move it over from our previous website, but please feel free to explore and schedule a free consult with one of us if you haven't before. There's an opportunity that you can just click that button and it will show you what we have available, and so that if you have any additional questions to what we've already gone over, we'll explore that for about 20 minutes together.
If you can't find any of these resources that we just mentioned, please reach out and we'll make sure you get hooked up with it.
Oh, and just so you know that if you schedule a daytime appointment and during your lunch hour, that will be with me. And if you schedule in the evenings, it will be with Jeff. So that's something to keep in mind.
Now, if you
let's stop the share and then we'll kind of end so you can see us a little better.
If you really want Kathy, but you can only do it in the evening, or if you really want me, but you can only do it in the afternoon, let us know and we'll figure out what to do with that. But that is our general availability, that Kathy's more available during the day and I'm more available in the evening.
All right, so somebody asked if the podcasts are free, and yes, they are. So you can just find us on your favorite podcast app, if it's whether it be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify for podcasters, Anchor. If you go to our website, though, it has links to all of them, so you can take your pick from there if you want.
Arvin also made the point that he's never been married, and we maybe didn't focus on that as much, but we've had members of our groups that aren't married or had never been married before. Some of them have gotten married, but these groups are for you too. If you're, over 30 and have never been married, whether you're 31 or 91, you're welcome.
Or if you're married or remarried and just wanting the support that we offer. I know a lot of people, like even married people, listen to our podcast and find them useful and helpful.
Right.
And our videos and our podcasts are separate from each other than when we do interviews, then we put them both places. So they're all unique, and we've got almost 150 podcasts and more than 250 videos and shorts on YouTube. So lots. Oh, Todd, thank you so much. You said the podcasts are great. I've gotten so much out of them. Oh, thank you so much for listening.
There's what,
and
150
mentioning that.
episodes or something like that. So,
Yep, there's a lot. But we are here to serve you personally also, and we're so glad you're here. Honestly, the funds that come in from the group coaching sessions is what helps fund Lily. So if it's a cause you believe in, know that your money is going to good work, and we'll continue serving you. And the only thing I wanted to say to the ladies is just that I'm so excited to see who joins for fall, and I really look forward to working with each of you, ladies, and I hope that you'll give this a try if it's new, or you'll come back if it's time to rejoin. And I think our membership login has been a really good change. It makes it easy for you to access everything without having to search through your emails or search through your the messages. The messages can just be for communicating.
yeah. Josiah Gilbert Holland was an American poet. He lived between 1819 and 1891. So he was a contemporary of the prophet Joseph Smith. Little bit after, but he wrote a poem called God Give Us Men. It goes like this: God give us men, a time like this demands strong minds, great hearts, true faith, and ready hands. Men whom the lust of office does not kill, men whom the spoils of office cannot buy, men who possess opinions and a will, men who have honor, men who will not lie, men who can stand before a demagogue and damn his treacherous flatteries without winking, tall men, sun-crowned, who live above the fog, in public duty and in private thinking. For while the rabble with their thumb-worn creeds, their large professions and their little deeds mingle in selfish strife, low freedom weeps. Wrong rules the land, and waiting justice sleeps. I want our groups and our efforts to produce men like that.
And I think they have, and they will, and they do.
And I guarantee you, you become a man like that, and you're going to have your choice of lots of wonderful women. It's not just about dating. It's not just about finding the person and getting her to like you. It's about becoming the kind of person you like.
Yeah,
that
which
you
makes you
admire.
more joyful and happy and moving through life lighter and more fulfilled, whether you're in a relationship or not.
And we all need the strength and support of good people, because life isn't always a bed of roses. It's not always easy.
All right, so we're going to stop this recording, and then we're going to get into the discussion portion. Just thank you so much for sticking with it. We're so grateful you're here. Thank you.